Welcome to our podcast on support with private renting, part of a series of podcasts marking Homelessness Awareness Week. Could you tell me a bit about your team?
The Housing Access Team, or HAT, is part of the Council's Housing Needs Team. HAT's role is to source affordable accommodation of a good standard from various types of accommodation providers. This is often, but not always, privately rented accommodation. We match the homes we secure to households who are on a low income and or welfare benefits who need help to find accommodation. Clients will be referred to us from colleagues in the Council's Housing Needs Team. If private landlords are listening, it will be useful for them to know that much of our work is with them. Our vision is to create strong, viable tenancies that work for landlords and tenants. The scheme offers landlords the freedom to manage their property safe in the knowledge that they have support on hand if they need it. The Housing Access Team has 6 members. I'm Dana, HAT's team leader. I regularly review working methods to check quality of service delivery, ensure the team has the resources it needs to do its job. I make sure that homelessness and private rented sector regulations are followed, and I also help promote the use of the private rented sector as a viable alternative to social rented housing.
I'm Duncan, Housing Access Officer. I lead on helping clients access the private rented sector, undertake all the necessary landlord checks and client assessments, provide expert advice to landlords on all aspects of letting, and ensure the properties meet the required standard. I liaise with the Council's housing caseworkers to help their clients move into their new homes quickly.
I'm Jill. I'm also a Housing Access Officer, and I lead on working with supported housing providers to move their residents out of supported accommodation into permanent homes. I work with staff of supported accommodation to encourage them to explore all suitable move-on options with their clients, and I provide training and presentation to workers and clients so that they're skilled up in searching for and securing private rented accommodation. Our colleague Jenny, who isn't here today, is also a member of the HAT team. She leads on landlord recruitment and securing properties for our clients. She liaises with landlords who contact the council, encouraging them to work with the Housing Access team. And she advises landlords who already work with us on health and safety legislation and any works that need to be carried out in order to bring properties up to a required standard.
I'm Ramona, and with my colleague Victoria, I work on Homes for Ukraine scheme. This service is delivered to Ukrainian households in temporary housing. We procure accommodation from various providers in order to meet the demands of Homes for Ukraine scheme. We rematch guests with alternative hosts and resettle guests into more secure, long-term housing once guest-host placements have come to an end.
What are some common barriers to privately renting?
We have been experiencing increasingly large numbers of single people and families with a high complexity of needs. A reduction over recent years of wider support services has resulted in an increase in homeless clients with multiple support needs, such as criminal offences, complex mental health conditions and substance misuse. It's a big challenge for HAT to find landlords who are willing to accept them as tenants. Exeter's private rental market is extremely competitive. Landlords can have the pick of tenants, leaving clients in receipt of benefits or those on a low income unable to compete with other applicants. Affordability is a big issue, especially for clients on a low income and or in receipt of universal credit, housing costs or housing benefit. Many homeless people or those threatened with homelessness are reluctant to accept realistic offers of privately rented accommodation and are prepared to hold out, often for a very long time, in the face of severe shortages for a social tenancy. And finally, landlords perceive a greater risk is associated with letting to tenants in receipt of benefits.
And how have you worked around these barriers?
Well, we have a range of tools and strategies to help us work around the barriers. We ensure that we offer Our offer to landlords is competitive and we regularly review our incentives to ensure that they meet the challenges in the private rented sector. We work hard to nurture strong relationships with landlords and agents by introducing tenants who can afford and manage tenancies, as well as being on hand to offer advice where needed. We promote our offer through ECC's Facebook page and X accounts and the Council's private sector housing newsletter. We network with landlords wherever we can, such as at the Rent Smart Devon event. In-house, we work closely with Exeter City Council's housing needs caseworkers to ensure that their clients are ready for privately rented accommodation. And in terms of affordability of accommodation, not only do we source property in our own district, but we look in neighbouring areas where rents are lower, especially in areas covered by Exeter's local housing allowance rate, which makes property more affordable.
What kind of support does your team give to those experiencing homelessness and who are looking to rent privately?
We work closely with the wider housing needs team. We recently completed 8 podcasts, especially for housing needs clients, that offer a wide-ranging selection of help, advice, and information on access to the private rented sector. Topics include issues around affordability, security of tenure, and searching for property. Over the last 12 months and continuing until March 2025, we have been delivering a project called Exploring the Private Rented Sector, which worked with residents of cities' hostels and supported accommodation to help scale up learners who are predominantly former rough sleepers to access the private rented sector.
And do you have any success stories that particularly stand out?
Yes, we had a single woman in her late 70s who had been living in private rented accommodation for many years, when she was asked to leave by her landlord who wanted to sell the property. She had several issues we needed to help her with: her need to be in a specific location because of her mental health issues, her inability to use a computer to search for properties online, and issues around affordability. She needed a very specific location close to the sea for mental health reasons, and had managed to secure her a viewing for a private rented self-contained flat in a seaside location which suited her well. After we did all the usual property and landlord checks, the property was secured for her and she was extremely happy and grateful to the team.
So can you tell me, what's your favourite thing about your role?
I'm Ramona. I enjoy working with people and I'm finding it very rewarding to work as part of our team. It brings me joy to be able to use my skills and help others in their time of need. My colleague Victoria, who couldn't be here today, says, "My favorite thing about my role is the opportunity to connect with people on a personal level and provide meaningful support during such a critical time in their lives. Being Ukrainian myself, I feel a deep connection to those I'm helping. I also truly value working alongside such dedicated and compassionate colleagues who makes every day inspiring."
I'm Jill, and in terms of the part of the job that I enjoy most, I think it's probably putting the training together. I also enjoy networking with other workers, and I get a great deal of satisfaction when I see somebody move out of supported accommodation into social housing after they've waited for it for such a long time and have worked really hard at bidding every week. Jenny, who's not here today, says that securing a home for somebody who has been without this basic need for a period of time brings me a sense of achievement, and I find it comforting knowing that I've made a positive impact.
I'm Duncan. I get a sense of satisfaction in helping the most vulnerable members of society and having a positive impact on their lives.
And Dana, I believe everyone deserves a place to call home. Managing our amazing team and working together with my officers to help our clients find their place is fulfilling and immensely rewarding.